Good morning. The topic for today is writing. We'll describe an experience you had before. Also, we'll deal with some brainstorming ideas, techniques. Let's start. First of all, let's see a model analysis. We'll read a text and then do some exercises about it to better understand how to write a description of a visit to a place. Let's read together. A perfect city break. Last October, my best friend and I booked a short break in the famous city of Edinburgh on Scotland's east coast. We stayed at a small hotel near the city centre. When we arrived, a cold was blowing and there was a thick mist, but that just made the atmosphere more exciting and mysterious. Edinburgh is an amazing city. Apart from the modern areas, it is full of beautiful historic buildings and narrow cobbled streets which add to its magic. We didn't have time to see and do everything. We visited Edinburgh Castle and saw the Scottish crown jewels. Then we explored Mary King's Close with its creepy hidden underground streets and houses. The city's poor lived there in the 17th century. There were also several traditional restaurants where they served the Scottish specialty, haggis. It looks weird, but surprisingly tasty. We enjoyed every minute of our visit. Edinburgh is so fascinating that I definitely plan to go back one day. So, after we finish reading, let's see what does each paragraph mention. Focus on paragraph A. What is it? Is the reason why the author is describing the place. The second one, what the city was like, the writer's impression. Then, in paragraph C, are what the writer did and saw in Edinburgh, so a description of activities. And in the last paragraph, a conclusion, are the feelings he had about visiting such a place. Here is a list of paragraphs and what they mentioned about each one. Study skills. How to make our piece of writing more interesting and more realistic. Using a variety of adjectives and adverbs make the description more interesting and the reader wants to follow your piece of writing. Let's see an exercise for the adjectives first. The request is, replace the adjectives in bold with the appropriate ones from the list. If you see in the text, there is several times used the adjective nice. It has different connotations, dealing with the adjectives we have in the list that are exciting, fascinating, 5-star, interesting, traditional, and beautiful. So let's replace the adjective nice with one of the adjectives in the list for each sentence. We had a fantastic time in Barcelona. It's a beautiful place. We stayed in a 5-star hotel in the heart of the city and we saw lots of interesting tourist attractions. In the evenings, we tasted local dishes at traditional restaurants and enjoyed some of the exciting lifestyle. Now let's practice some adverbs. How to use the adverbs in a piece of writing to make it sound more interesting. The request says, fill in the appropriate adverbs increasingly, gracefully, comfortably, luxuriously, lazily, and aimlessly. Have a look at the sentences, just a skim read of them. Let's start. We sunbathe lazily on the beach every day. I sat comfortably in a cafe and enjoyed the amazing view across the city. The city is becoming increasingly popular with young people. She danced gracefully to the music with the others. The place was luxuriously decorated. And the last one, I wandered aimlessly through the cobbled streets. Now, when we start writing or thinking better before writing, we brainstorm our ideas. This is the first and the best technique you might use when starting to write. What does it mean? You may write about activities, site, etc. You put the topic. Then you put some subtopics you want to include in your piece of writing and write as many ideas under each topic as you can. In the end, you decide which ones to use in your piece of writing. The useful language. There are some expressions you may have noticed in the modal analysis that we use when writing about an experience of a visit to a place. First of all, we describe the place, then we give some advice and how we felt about it, what we did and saw in the place. Then, in the conclusion, in the last paragraph, we recommend or we express our feelings to the place we visited. What is the plan we have to follow when writing about a description of a visit to a place? First of all, we have the introduction. In the first paragraph, we have to include the name of the place, the location, and the reason you went there. Then you have to say who you were with and where you stayed. This was about the first part. In the main body, better to use 2 paragraphs. In the second paragraph, you have to describe what the place is like. And in the third one, you have to describe what you see and did there. And in the end, in paragraph 4, your comments and feelings about the place you visited. My advice is to divide between the paragraphs, not to confuse ideas, and what you have to write in each paragraph decides better on the reader's attention to your piece of writing. To practice at home, you have to write a description of a place you visited on holiday last year. Following the plan, try to make full use of useful phrases we mentioned above. Thank you very much for your attention.